Vital information. In just a couple minutes, I'm going to reveal the three major factors or three major conflicts that control a woman's sex life. But before I do that, there are 5 basic key things that we've learned in the past few years that even allowed us to begin on this project. Now, if you're already familiar with the Attraction Code, which was my first book, then this will be an ideal refresher course. Number 1. Women are genetically programmed to seek out the one dominant, high-status male in any social group and mate with him. There's many evolutionary reasons for this, but the important thing to know is that she's going to mainly feel attraction to the one dominant guy in any social group. But remember, she may interact in many different social groups throughout her life, so she'll have many different mates. What this basically means is that if she's got a study group that she meets with on Thursday nights, there's a couple guys, couple girls, she spends significant time with that group, say, 5 to 10 hours, she will naturally become attracted to the one dominant guy in that context. All right, and let's say that she's got a different group of friends that she goes out with every Friday night to the club. Again, she's going to be attracted to the one dominant guy in that group as well. This is a general rule, and as we'll see later, this rule is not valid with all women. But basically, that's the basic idea of the alpha male, where the one alpha male has the ability to mate with the other women in the group. That's why you'll often see guys off the street who have no training whatsoever intuitively acting like jerks or assholes, pushing their friends around, pretending not to give a shit about anyone. Now, what they don't realize is that not only does this come across as insecurity, but also only certain types of women respond to that real dominant masculinity, and others, in fact, don't and look for other things. So it's not always a foolproof strategy. Number 2, most women are extremely fearful of being judged as a slut. This carries with it huge social consequences. And I think that most people know this to some degree, that women don't want to be judged as sluts, but they don't understand just how sensitive the issue really is, and even how small details of your interaction with a woman can lead to her perceiving that judgment. They're being scared of judged by their friends, other guys, society, and most importantly, you. That's right, even when a girl's interacting with you, she's still worried about what you're thinking about her and if you're going to judge her as a slut. That's a big reason for resistance to you escalating with her. And that's something that many men miss. They believe that their interest alone and their desire for her relieves that fear, but trust me, it doesn't. It's a huge objection, not only to having sex with a guy, both too soon, even if lots of time has passed, but it's also the main reason why she rejects so many advances. In her mind, it's okay for her to flirt her ass off with a guy, but if he makes one wrong move too soon or inappropriately, or even if he just gives her the wrong look when he's making a move, it's game over. Number 3, 95% of all women have experienced some level of sexual trauma in their past. It could be recent, could be from a long time ago, could be as small as something like a woman going to the gym to work out and guys keep staring at her boobs. In fact, there's a lot of new gyms now that, they're gyms that are made just for women. A woman can go there and not have to worry about men looking at her. Or this could be even a little bit more significant as full-out sexual assault or rape. Most of the time when that happens, it's someone that she knew, someone very close to her, and it could be from a stranger as well. All of this stuff counts as sexual trauma, and most women have experienced it on some level. This is a very important thing to understand because most guys never have this experience. It's completely alien to them. So it's something that we have to take into consideration when we're developing this. So when I found this stuff out, for example, I was pretty shocked because, as guys, we don't ever worry about this stuff. unless we're in like a prison or something, with guys that are trying to beat us up and assault us. But you just have to realize that women are smaller, they're weaker, 100 times less aggressive than the average man. The same feelings that you would have living in a prison with rapists and murderers walking around, guys that were, looking at you like they're like any minute they could attack you. That same feeling is sometimes experienced by women on a daily basis. And because of that, they have developed very sophisticated mental protection mechanisms to deal with that. A lot of this program is going to teach you exactly how to disarm those mechanisms. And also how women deal with these experiences mentally is very important to the model, as we'll soon talk about. Number 4, we live in a male-dominated society, and there is a lot of pressure for women to fit in. Most people in politics are men. Most bosses of businesses are men. Men are the leaders and the heads of households. Up until the 60s, women did not even leave the house to work normal jobs. They were just housewives. There is currently a strong movement for women to play the same roles as men right now, and it's being positioned as equality. Yes, from one perspective it shows equality, but let's not forget the millions of years of evolution where women were playing completely opposite but complementary roles. We are still in somewhat of a transition period in time where women have a range of conflicting pressures regarding the best way to live their lives, and even when women are comparatively young, even at 18, 19, or 20, they must make decisions that could affect their entire future. So this has to do with women being pressured by their parents, by schools, and education systems to be equals to men, to have careers and be just as successful as men. And this creates a pretty big conflict inside their mind, and we'll talk about that. Number 5, this is a big one. Women love sex. They need sex just as much as men, and they actually experience more physical pleasure from sex as men. And there's been a lot of studies to verify this. Not only do you need to just watch, how much more control a woman loses during sex, or especially when she has an orgasm. Just watch and see her losing control. You don't see men losing physical control when he has an orgasm. So it's a much more intense feeling for them. It takes over their body. This is a very big thing to understand. A lot of guys that are just starting out think that, if they have a lot of difficulty, they think that women don't like sex, or they think it's gross, or they don't enjoy having it with new guys and things like that. And that's just not true. So women do actually enjoy sex. They love it. They need it. And they experience a lot of pleasure from it, even more than men in some cases. There's actually 2 psychological elements that relate to this. First of all, having sex with a new guy is considered much more taboo for women than it is for men. I mean, most men are considered studs, with the more women that they sleep with. But because of this difference, that women are judged as sluts and guys are judged as studs, because of that difference, there's an additional element of an excitement element, that rush that women are going to feel when they're doing something that's considered taboo like that. Secondly, biologically, the stakes are much higher. If a guy has sex, he reloads in minutes and he's ready to go again. Like if a guy has sex with a girl, half hour later, new girl wants to have sex with him, he's ready to go. So a man can mate with, theoretically hundreds or thousands of women in a year. However, a woman can only be pregnant once per year. Well, technically it's 9 months, but because of this higher risk, there's a higher reward. So keep in mind that women do want sex. They get a lot of pleasure from it. They enjoy it, but they have very strict criteria that must be met. And satisfying those criteria is different depending on her character type. And we're going to talk a lot more about that, the differences between women and what their criteria is for getting physical with a guy.